Hi everyone, it's Tiffany here again. I'm here today to show you guys how to make the really quick and easy bamboo scrap buster underwear. And first you need to get your pattern, and you can use, there's lots of different ones that you can find. There's free ones, there's paid for ones. Today I'm using the Sabrina Shorties from Made for Mermaids. I believe that's who they're from. And the pieces that you're gonna need to cut out, I kind of altered my pattern a little bit. It had, on the original pattern, the gusset was a separate piece and there was a lining also, but I cut mine all in one piece. This is usually how the patterns are, is all one front piece, which you cut on the fold, one whole back piece, also cut on the fold, and then your liner, which is also cut on the fold. So the liner and your front piece are gonna go together with the back sides facing each other. So I'm just gonna put those together right now. So we got our back sides together, like so. And then I'm gonna lay that on the other piece in a minute. So we also have two bands cut out, and these were cut, these are the leg bands, these are cut on the fold, and then one waistband. For bamboo, I found that because it's really stretchy and it kind of grows, you might want to cut your bands a little bit shorter. It really depends on your body and how you like your clothes to fit you. And I also like my band for bamboo a little wider than say for cotton lycra, just because the bamboo, it's not quite as stretchy. It's got a little bit more give to it, but they are great for underwear. They're so comfortable. So the first thing we're gonna do is stitch some of these bands together. So I'm gonna take my waistband and I'm gonna put the fronts facing each other, back side out, and we're gonna just stitch this into one loop. And the hardest part with making these is gonna be putting your bands on. Sorry, my machine is so loud. She needs to go to the spa and get a cleaning and an oil. I've been putting it off, but I think when I go on vacation here pretty soon, I'm gonna drop both my machines off. All right, and so same with your leg bands. You're gonna take your leg band and you're gonna flip it, and you're gonna have your pretty sides facing each other, line up these little short ends, and then we're gonna just serge or stitch right across the top. You can use your sewing machine for this with a stretch stitch or serger. The bamboo is really easy on a serger. With your domestic machine, the bamboo tends to sometimes want to get eaten up when you sew it, so a walking foot is a good idea if you're going to just use a regular machine. But the serger, it's quick and easy. So get my leg bands and my waistband, so they're all stitched into loops. Alright, those are ready. Quick and easy. All right, so coming back to the main body now, I've got my main front piece with the lining for the crotch, and I have matched up this bottom seam, and this seam is going to go onto my bottoms. So we got the bottom piece, we're gonna unfold it, and we're gonna lay the front onto here and match up. So let's flip it upside down. And we've got the back piece here. We've got our front piece. We're gonna put the front piece and the back piece pretty sides together. Okay, and then we're gonna have our lining the pretty side up. You see how that is? So we've got back side, but the lining is our pretty side up. And if you wanna clip this, it's a good idea. It holds everything in place because we're going to be sewing through 3 layers. So take your piece right there. We're going to line her up all the way across, and then we're gonna stitch it all the way across that seam. And that's gonna be the seam that is near your bum. So sometimes you might wanna top stitch it down just so it sits flat and doesn't get twisted or sit weird on you, especially if you're sensitive to seams. But we're gonna just run this part through the serger here. A poor loud machine, I'm sorry, you need oil bad. Okay, so we've stitched that together. And now we're going to take this lining here, and I'm gonna pin or clip, hopefully you can see it. I'm gonna take this lining piece and I'm gonna clip it to my front piece just to keep that from flopping around and getting every which way, because some people now will go over and stitch this flat. It's not necessary. If you want to, go for it. This is why your store-bought underwear all have this weird little pouch and people are like, oh, what's that pouch for? It's got no purpose. It's because you don't need to stitch it down. You can. I don't because I'm lazy. You don't even need to finish that seam because it's bamboo. You're good to go just like that. The other thing we're gonna do now is take our pretty sides together and match up our side seams. So we've got the front clipped to hold that in place. We're gonna sew our side seams together. These look huge too, by the way. I know, like, homemade underwear, it's like, why do they look so huge? Bigger than store-bought looking, but I don't know why. They just do. But they always end up, well, they don't always end up, you might have made the wrong size, but they always end up fitting, even if they look a little big. Just go by your measurements. Don't be scared that it's looking weird and huge. Alright, so get our side seams stitched, and then we'll have one complete set pair ready for bands. And like I said, the bands are going to be the hardest part, but I'm going to show you how I do them, and hopefully it'll make it easier. And this is the same technique for bands that you can use on your neck bands and cuffs. It's all the same. So once you get these bands figured out, you'll be able to handle them for everything. All right, I use lots of clips. Grab my handful of clips. Okay, so I'm going to turn them right side out, and I'm going to match up my two side seams here. And after I match these up, I'm going to put one clip on this seam and one here, just because that's how I remember those are each separate and ready to go. But here's my half of the back. I'm going to do one clip there, so I know that that's the exact half of the back. And then I'm going to do the same here. Hold my sides, and I'm going to go over here and clip this front. Oops, hold still, guy. All right, so that's my half right in the middle there of the front and right in the middle of the back piece. So when I unfold them, I've got clips right in the middle. Okay, those are our quarter portions. 1/4 portion, like on Star Wars. Now we're going to take our band and flip it around so we've got ugly sides touching, the inside there, back side kind, touching each other. And then I'm going to put a clip right there to hold my seam together. All right, so we got the seam held with one, and we got our back piece, middle. Now I'm going to take these guys, he's going to go around him. So this band's going to go around the whole opening, right? And we're going to take this band and we're going to match it up, the two clips. And I'm going to remove one clip, and then I'm going to put this other clip on the other. So it holds all three layers together. And we know that's right in the middle of the back side. All right, same thing with the front now. I got it hanging up here. I'm going to find my middle. I already found my middle down here. I'm gonna get my middle here, and I'm going to have it folded with our middle, and I'm gonna put a clip right there. Clip it. Okay, so there's my middle of the band. There's my middle of the front of the underwears. Once again, we're gonna pull this band down to get all that in there. But I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna match up this clip, match up that clip, remove one, and then take my other and go through all 3 layers. All right, so we got our front, we got our back. Now it's the sides time. We're gonna pull it, stretch it, pull it. I'm gonna kind of use my knee. I like to use my knees when I sew. And I'm gonna hold it here. And I'm gonna get this top layer, this layer. Where's my underwear layer? Where did it go? Oh, he folded down. There we go. All right. Get all 3 layers. And I'm gonna have this one, same thing, all 3 layers. But if I just start clipping them, they're gonna look wonky. They're not gonna be centered. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of stretch it, and we're gonna kind of play with it and make sure that those end up centered up. So we have 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, all 4 points. And then that should be about where we want it. Same thing here. I'm gonna stretch it out. This is my method. I don't know if somebody's got a better method. Let me know down below in the comments. But I'm gonna stretch that out, and then I'm gonna take here. We're gonna line these up, and we're gonna hook it here with this clip. So all 3 layers are now encased. And we got the whole band around the whole top portion. Now you can go back if you need to and add more clips here. But the same thing is, if you're gonna add a clip in there, you need to stretch that band. Because if you just start putting a clip in there, you could have it over here where it's really loose and over here where it's tight, and then when you go to sew it, it won't be even. So I stretch and clip. First I get the 4/4 kind, the front, the back, and the sides, and then I'll go through and clip between the sections. Or you don't need to. You know, if you feel confident when you sew to just kind of stretch and sew. When you sew it, you'll stretch the band. You will not stretch your underwear. Otherwise, it will get all crazy and it'll be all just a mess. But you'll want to keep them lined up, and you'll want to sew all 3 layers together. So if you're a beginner at this, take them, stretch it, hold all the layers, and kind of get them all there gathered up, and then you can clip. And you'll have nice even, and do that all the way around. And then you're gonna go back, same thing, on your legs. So some people like to clip it and serge it. I like to clip all the way and then serge it all. Just to save some time, I'm gonna serge it today, and then I'll come back and do the legs real quick too to show you how to do those. But we're gonna just get this under here, and we're gonna make sure we keep everything even. We're gonna make sure we stretch our band, but not our underwear. And we're gonna just serge all 3 layers. So make sure you get all 3 layers in there. Removing clips as you go. Stretching the band, but not your main pieces. Make sure that you keep all this extra stuff out of the way. You don't want to get it in there and sew over it or serge over it. You know why I like sergers so much? Because you can sew a little sloppier and it'll just cut these extras off and make your edges lined up nice. Alright, stretch it out, sew it. I serge them off. I snip, and then I kind of pull my serger threads in, but I also go over it with my cover stitch machine. You don't have to go over it and top stitch your seams. I like to, but that's totally optional. All right, so there's our top band, all done. And this is where I would top stitch right along that seam to have it lay flat inside and out. because otherwise it can flip. All right, so we got our legs now. And remember, we already clipped this liner down, so that is gonna get a band and it'll hold it in, and then it'll get stitched together. If you wanna go back and do, oops, I was off camera. If you wanna do stitch on that to lay that flat, go ahead. You can even fold it down, stitch it, go for it. That's your thing if you want. But what I'm gonna do is make sure my side seam is all facing the same direction, and I'm gonna put a clip there. And I'm gonna go down here, and I'm gonna flip this bum seam. I was talking about that bum seam. You can stitch it down if you'd like. I'm just gonna hold it down, up. Here's your underwears. It's gonna be facing upwards and not be folded oddly down. And I'm gonna clip that there. And then same side with this side. We're gonna clip that bum seam up. This one's already clipped. And then over here on the side seam, make sure it's all straight. And I'm gonna add a clip to that side seam. All right. So like before we did the quarters, this time we're gonna kind of do thirds, because we have the front clip where the liner is, we got the back bum seam clip, and then we have our side seam. So I'm gonna take one of these bands and have it in a loop. I'm gonna fold it in half again, like I did earlier. Oops. So that it will be the ugly sides together, pretty sides out, all in one loop. And then this is going to hook first on my side seam is where I'm gonna start here. So I'm gonna line up my side seam and put my clip there all through 3 layers. And we're gonna do the same stretchy kind of technique. Oops, get over here. Okay. Get my 2 layers of the band. There we go. And my 1 layer of that. Down here where the liner is, we're gonna have 4 layers we're sewing through. All right, so I'm gonna kind of stretch that band out, and I'm gonna put a clip down here. Okay. Oops, I keep throwing them today. Clip it. All right, so we've got 1 up at the side seam, 1 down here that's holding all 4 layers together, and then I'm gonna stretch them and get this one over here from the bum, and I'm gonna get that one clipped down too. So I kind of hold it, boop, there we go. I held it and grabbed it, and then, oops, see, there goes that clip. Seams up, all 4 layers, is that 4? It's 3 layers. With the seam, it's kind of 4. And put a clip. And then we're gonna go over here and do the same thing with the front. Grab it, and we're gonna put a clip right there at that front. So I'm gonna hold that one, I'm gonna hold the underwear, and I'm gonna take them, oops, don't lose my clip. All right, and we're gonna stretch them out. And then that gets 1 more here to hold that liner down. But if I try and do that, I'm not gonna be able to reach. So I'm gonna put 1 here to help hold this side down. Clip that one down. I'm gonna fix this one so it doesn't pop off here real quick. And then we're ready to sew that down. And we're gonna just sew it down. We'll sew the liner down, and we'll have all 3 or 4 layers going at once into that. And we'll start here at the side. Okay, ready to go. And once again, use your stretch, stitch, and make sure you've got all the layers in there at once. All right, and I'm gonna get to this bum seam, take my clip out, but I'm gonna make sure that seam's up where I want it. And now we're sewing over all 4 layers right at this point. Oops, I never got that clip done, that's okay. So we got 2 layers of the bands, your main, and your liner. this one. And yeah. All right. We'll just keep turning all that off, all the way down and around until we get that whole band off. All right. I'm going to spare you from having to watch one more band being put on because it's the exact same way. But we got our band on, we got the liner stitched into that. Here, let me flip it around and show you. It's stitched down, bands on that. It's all nice and even because I stretched my band and not the fabric. It's nice and even because we took the time to stretch it out and clip it. So first you find your halfway, and then you get your other clips in there, and you just kind of work the band around. This works for neck bands, armpit bands, cuffs, but that's it. They're pretty quick and easy, and I really hope you guys give them a try and use up those scraps. And yeah, thanks for joining me today. Have a great day, you guys.